To better understand the events of the Hmong history in Laos, you need to understand the events from other groups of people as well, along with their history and events that have connection with the Hmong events, and build a timeline off that for a more accurate timeline. After the Hmong Qianjiao rebellion under Hmong King Wu Paiyia against the Qing dynasty ended in 1805, hundreds of thousands of Hmong refugees flooded into Vietnam, with most settle at Dong Van. After a year of constant Hmong refugee settlement in the mountains of Vietnam, the Hmong population grew too large, and in certain villages became too overpopulated, and there wasn't enough farmland for everyone since the land was mostly rocky mountains. Hmong Kai Tong, Pa Si Lo at the village of Phan Si Pan raised a team of Hmong veteran soldiers equipped with Hmong musket and crossbow on an expedition to find new land for settlement. The expedition team was led by Cu Vu and his team, penetrating into Laos and discover Nong Het in Xiên Quan Province, Laos. They discover that unlike Vietnam that have poor soil with mostly rocky mountains, Laos on the other hand have good rich soil with no rocky mountains that can sustain large agricultural for the Hmong people. They made Nong Het the new location for Hmong settlement, and soon Cu Vu went back to Vietnam and led the first few Hmong families to settle in Nong Het, making them the first Hmong settler in Laos in 1806. Kai Tong, Pa Si Lo, soon later also lead more Hmong families from Vietnam into Laos to settle at Nong Het. The first few Hmong families that settle in Laos at Nong Het was from the Lo, Li, Yang, Vang, and Mua clans. In Nong Het, Pa Si Lo allow every clan to have their own Kai Tong that looks over their own clan, but he was the main Kai Tong of Nong Het. The Kai Tong title was introduced to the Hmong people by the Vietnamese that allow the Hmong to govern themselves in Vietnam instead of having the Vietnamese govern the Hmong people that may lead to conflict. In Xiên Quan Province there were already other groups of people living there, such as the Lao, Khmu, Thai, and Phuan people. Xiên Quan at that time was under the control of the Phuan people under the Phuan king ruler Chao Noi, and their capital was Muong Phuan. Even though Xiên Quan was under the control of the Phuan people, they themselves were under the control of the Lao kingdom of Vientiane and had to pay tribute to the kingdom of Vientiane. Phuan king Chao Noi made tribute mandatory in Xiên Quan, and the Hmong living in the Nong Het had to pay tribute to avoid conflict. Tribute at that time wasn't just about money but farm cultivation, to farm livestock, to wild animals such as rhino horn and elephant tusk, which was of high value. The mandatory tribute by Phuan king Chao Noi was extremely high, which led to a bloody rebellion by the Khmu people in Xiên Quan. The Khmu attacked everyone including the Hmong people at Nong Het. Phuan king Chao Noi led his Phuan army to put down the Khmu rebellion and had the support of the minority groups in Xiên Quan to help out. The Hmong equipped with musket and crossbow quickly routed the Khmu people that was armed only with sabers and crossbow. The Hmong at that time were hardcore veteran soldiers that once fought against the Qing dynasty in China under Hmong King Wu Paiyia. The Khmu rebellion finally ended in 1814 with majority of the Khmu people being pushed out of Xiên Quan and into Luang Prabang province. The small pockets of remaining Khmu people then surrender and resolve to live with harmony, and relationship steadily improved. After the conflict against the Khmu rebellion, the Hmong went on to live a peaceful life in Nong Het, and prosper agriculturally thanks to the rich soil in Laos, and was one of the main reason why some Hmong people left Vietnam to Laos. Pa Si Lo was head Kai Tong of Nong Het for several years until he was murdered by Zong Sa Xiong. The story was that Pa Si Lo accused Zong Sa Xiong of stealing 2 of his silver jar, and so as head Kai Tong of Nong Het, he arrested Zong Sa Xiong and severely tortured him. After several days of torturing Zong Sa Xiong, he was released from prison after investigation led to Pa Si Lo's own daughter boyfriends of being the one that stole the 2 silver jar instead. Zong Sa Xiong, soon after he was released, came back to seek revenge, and shot Pa Si Lo dead with a Hmong musket. The Lo clan soon hunted down Zong Sa Xiong and killed him. The Xiong Kai Tong chief did not protect Zong Sa Xiong to avoid conflicts between the 2 clans, and also the fact that at that time the Lo clan was the most powerful Hmong clan in Laos at that time. After Pa Si Lo was killed, his brother Sia Su Lo became head Kai Tong of Nong Het. In 1826 the Lao Kingdom of Vientiane and the Lao Kingdom of Champasak lead a bloody Lao rebellion for independence from the Siam Kingdom. The Lao Rebellion was suppressed in 1928 by the Siam, and the Lao Kingdom of Vientiane was obliterated. The capital of Vientiane was burned to the ground and looted of nearly all treasures by the Siamese armies. Fuan King Chao Noi saw this as an opportunity to free his Fuan people from the Vientiane king mandatory tribute, and so he went after the fleeing king and captured him and handed him over to the Siam. Vientiane king, Anuvang, will die in Siam prison. The Lao Kingdom of Vientiane will fall under the Siam Kingdom full control. While the Lao Kingdom of Champasak was allowed to remain as a semi-kingdom to Siam, but in punishment were forced to pay more tribute than usual to the Siam Kingdom. The Lao Kingdom of Luang Prabang did not participate in the rebellion and was not punished for the rebellion. In 1831 Fuan King Chao Noi was summoned to the Vietnamese Kingdom of Nguyen, and was executed by King Minh Mang. King Minh Mang, of the Kingdom Nguyen, was upset of Fuan King Chao Noi for turning over King Anuvang to the Siam. After killing Fuan King Chao Noi, the Kingdom of Nguyen annexed Xian Quan and the capital of Muang Fuan. Xian Quan was then renamed Tran Ninh, meaning to keep the peace. The Vietnamese officials came to rule over the region and rule over the people and imposed Vietnamese culture, dress, and mandatory tribute on the population. The Hmong and Sang Quan went from paying tribute to the Fuan king, and now the Nguyen king. The Fuan people did not want to live under the Vietnamese ruler, and decided to side with the Siam Kingdom instead. In 1831, King Nanklo of the Kingdom of Siam orders Siam troops to invade Cambodia, and to invade the southern part of the Vietnamese Kingdom of Nguyen. Siam also sent a small garrison of troops into Xian Quan to support the Fuan people and kill many Vietnamese officials in Xian Quan. By 1833, the Siamese came to a conclusion that Xian Quan was too far away for Siamese influence, and was hard to defend, so the Siamese gave up on it, and in the process forced several thousand Fuan people to move to Thailand. Many Fuan, during the forced transfer to Thailand, died from disease and harsh treatment. During the long journey several hundred Fuan escaped the journey and returned to Muang Fuan, but then were captured by the Vietnamese for siding with the Siamese. While all of this was happening in Xian Quan, the Hmong for the most part stayed out of the conflict, and only had a few close incidents here and there, when troops from both sides got too close to the Hmong villages in the highland. Around the 1840s, the flow of Hmong settlement in Laos started to increase drastically into Sam Ngoa, Phong Saly, Luang Prabang and Xian Quan province. In Nong Het, the Hmong population grew so large that the competition for the position title of head Kai Tong in Nong Het led to internal conflicts. Fuan Prince Chao Pa, son of Puang King Chao Noi, eventually was allowed to return to Xian Quan. Puang Prince Chao Pa, in 1850, led a bloody rebellion against the Vietnamese control over Xian Quan, and eventually pushed the Vietnamese out of Xian Quan, and made Xian Quan a semi-kingdom to the Siam Kingdom. From 1860s to the 1870s, Indochina saw another mass flow of refugees coming from China. During the 1850s to the 1870s, multiple rebellions broke out in China. The Taiping Rebellion, led by the Chinese Christianity community, from 1851 to 1864. The Nian Rebellion, led by the poor peasant people, from multiple backgrounds from 1851 to 1868. The Red Turban Rebellion, led by members of the Hongmen Society in Guangdong from 1854 to 1856. Today the Hongmen organization have over 300,000 active members worldwide. The Small Swords Society, led by political and military organization from 1840 to 1855. The Xian Tong Rebellion, led by the Hmong community in Guizhou province from 1854 to 1873. The Pantai Rebellion, led by the Hui Muslim community in Yunnan from 1856 to 1873. The Dungan Rebellion, led by the Hui Muslim community in Xinjiang from 1862 to 1877.